right, welcome to the Dragon's Tome, episode number 79. I am your host. Ooh, what was that?
You were bringing the heat. That was me whistling, going, "Oh wow!"
Something was coming over my cans. That's
Mm,
headphones in the business.
you have lovely
Uh,
cans.
Thanks. I don't know what that was, but I hope it doesn't come into the recording. But I shall continue.
Oh, it wasn't
Episode number
Jax just whistling?
79.
We didn't hear nothing.
Yeah, all I heard was like static,
Oh,
like white noise.
mm.
Oh well.
All right, well,
We're keeping this in.
we're keeping it in. So, episode 79, Dragon Magazine. September, October, November.
Oh.
And we have our cover here, which I think is following suit that we talked about last week, is how these covers never match the month that they're supposed to be. Like, this now definitely looks like a Halloween.
There's bunnies.
It's-
It's like harvest, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
But, like, there's a corn maze and pumpkins.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Jack Crane. We've made fun of Jack Crane before, and I say this looks like a cover of what was that magazine you get as a little kid? Twilight or no, what was it called? Something like that.
Hustler.
Jack.
Boy's Life.
Anyways,
Mad Magazine.
no, it's
Cracked.
no, not those are like teenager. I mean little kid magazines.
Oh.
Mm.
Is this the guy
Highlights.
that drew
Scary.
Highlights.
highlights? Okay.
Highlights.
Is this the guy that drew the food fight one?
I think so, yeah.
Because this definitely looks like the food fight cover.
Yep. Jack Crane.
I'm a fan of the the whimsy, a little bit of twee humor. I like this cover.
Well,
It mixes it up a bit.
there's a few things that I find a little offensive.
Offensive.
Oh, offensive.
I mean, let's go straight woke today.
Okay, this
my-
is
the
going to
first
be our
offense-
woke episode.
This is our woke episode. This is where we become woke. So my first problem with this cover is that they stolen our brand and put it on a beer bottle and passed out next to some kind of homeless guy.
Yeah, that's right on brand. Yeah.
That's right, our brand, the Old Dragon. I just offended by that.
I'm offended that all carrots eat, or all bunnies eat carrots. Come on.
Wow, yeah, that's the stereotype. I hate it. But
What
I'm
about
also very upset that they've associated our brand to homelessness, people sleeping on the ground.
So you're saying we're old, which we are. I feel about 108.
Yeah.
And we talk about Dragon magazine. So you're saying that Old Dragon, what appears to be moonshine, is a defamatory.
Yeah, that's our brand.
Okay.
Old Dragon. And then I don't even want to talk about the sexual assault that's going on in the
Yeah,
background.
the one guy's grabbing the one guy's butt. I was going to mention that one.
Yeah. While the guy's grabbing the ear of corn.
There's some undertones in this.
Yeah.
And bunnies represent promiscuity.
So you're sullying a very nice, a pleasant bit of
The moons of
of
voyeur.
art with
Exactly.
your nonsense. Okay.
Okay.
That's the kind of show Pat wants to host.
Actually,
so-
you know what? Being woke is tiresome. I'm done being woke.
Well, your social has justiced and warriored a lot, so why don't we
It's
move
just
along?
tiring. Let's move along. But
I like the cover.
the cover is okay.
I hate it. See,
Okay,
we
well,
got all three.
We got all aspects of this cover.
every temperature of porridge has been accounted for.
Okay. Well, that being said, let's just go in order of how you guys are stacked on my screen,
Which is totally random because it's totally different from
Exactly.
our screen.
which is gonna put Jack first. Yay! He's got his fingers
I haven't gone
crossed.
first in forever. Evil.
Yeah, in your face, Harper. In your face. I worked hard for this.
I wear
You're-
red and everything.
Did you?
No, you guys haven't changed like me.
I look good in black.
It's Slimmy.
Like that time that I was on Saturday Night Live and me and Elton John switched clothes just for the whimsy of it. That was classic. Anyways, so let's go to page 30.
30. Whoa! Right to the meat of the magazine.
Let's find the center.
Wow, I was very
split up and
surprised.
leave.
I didn't think anyone was going to pick this article.
Why not?
Because it's terrible.
Oh, stop it.
No, I can't say it's terrible. It's fine.
This is an article by Scott Benny, who is literally just a letter away from being Scott Beanie, which, would be funny. No, this article is a kind of like a, hey, there's religions in your fantasy setting. Why wouldn't there be patron saints? Why wouldn't there be these icons of your religion, people that are kind of like the superstars and such? And it just gives some statted out examples of what in some religions what the superstar of that religion would be. Not the god, not a demigod, but like a kind of a dope guy.
Oh, yep.
So you go down and there's people who would be for a paladin of death or something, or someone that's a
King of the Death Knights.
Yeah,
I do like Saint Bane, the Scourger.
Scourger.
Patron saint of those who hunt undead.
Would that include the vampire hunters?
They're undead, yeah. I would think so.
I like Saint Kargoth.
What does Saint Kargoth do?
He's the king of the Death Knights.
We just said that one.
Yeah, that's the one I kind of was like, hey, that's a pretty interesting. So long and short of it is an interesting world building kind of thing, especially if you're if you've got a character that's into the religion and you want to flesh out kind of things about it. It could be a plot hook. Definitely, if you just wanted to bring some thunder and wanted some sort of I don't know, confrontation or something, I thought it was interesting.
There you go. That's all that matters, Jack. As long as you like it.
Yeah, that's my article. You guys have your own articles.
That's right.
I wonder if Scott Benny's a Catholic.
I don't know.
That's only really the religion that has saints.
Canonically, in our shared fan fiction of a show world, he's dead, so he can't be a Catholic. But was he?
It's gonna get disturbing because as we get closer to our time, saying they're dead means to be like 30 and they'll be dead, and they'll be like, oh, that means tragedy. They're not just saying ancient people anymore. It's getting to the point where these people are, probably our age.
So episode, because I think Drag Magazine goes up to episode like 106 or something. So that guy, if he made an article when he was 28.
Yep, only 106. Okay. Hold your breath, Jack.
Moving on then. Rob, what is your article?
My article is on page 26? Question mark. Blame it on the gremlins.
Gremlins.
I like this. It starts off really cool because it's all about gremlins and about real life, quote unquote, real life gremlins in different wars and how they're blamed on everything. But that it also incorporates the fact that the real life gremlins, due to nuclear testing, got blasted into the D&D world. So our gremlins in the real world got sent into the D&D world. But then it goes off the rails because all of a sudden they're really militaristic and stuff, and it makes no sense suddenly. Like, it's like, no, they're supposed to be singular guys getting blasted into that area. Instead, they're I think Greg Chamberlain had two different ideas that he combined together, and I like the first part and I don't like the second part. But the idea of gremlins, like they mess with tech, and once they go to D&D they start messing with magic also because it's just different type of technology, and they like to play tricks, and there's two different types of them, good and bad. He doesn't really go into the difference of the two. He kind of just lumps them all together. And I also like the idea that some could attach to PCs. The parts I don't like, it's making them all militaristic for some reason. I don't understand why you added that, because it really doesn't fit with the rest of the article.
They at one point they go from little mischief makers who like to he talks about how they would sabotage a catapult or something. Oh, that's interesting. Just just little guys who cause shenanigans. Okay,
Mhm.
great. I'm on board. And then
Tricksters. Yeah.
then he starts talking about how they are militaristic and they've got societies and they're
That's
strictly
weird.
organized. And I
Yeah.
was like, that
It's two
doesn't make sense.
separate things. I don't understand it. Yeah.
Very diametrically opposed. Like
Mm-hmm.
when Shatner looks out the window and sees one on the wing, he doesn't see them marching.
Doesn't give him a salute.
They're not
Yeah.
goose stepping across the
Yeah.
ailerons. It's just
He's
one of
just
them
screwing
going,
around. Yeah.
yeah, hey buddy, look at me.
Yeah.
I'm tearing a piece off the plane. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. I wish he'd kept to the original Gremlins idea of just some mischief makers. Because imagine your characters get stuck with a gremlin. It's just doing annoying things. It's not, he's just screwing you up a little bit, but just for his own amusement.
Can you feed these ones?
And-
They're not that kind of gremlin. What year is that? I think that's 85, I'm guessing.
84.
Gremlins.
Mm.
But, yeah.
Either way, Greg Chamberlain, you
It
added
does
one
split
to
them up into land and marine gremlins too.
84, yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, there's all different. There's land, sea, and air gremlins, which make no sense.
He added one too many G's to his name, and his last name is the best Skeksis. So between the two of those things, I don't, so it's a wash.
Yeah. It's two ideas he shoved together, and I like it separate. But it's still useful, because you could just take the militaristic part out, and it's still fun to have the idea of gremlins in your world, screwing things up. I also like to say you don't want everything that goes wrong to be the gremlins' fault, but some of it can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fun gremlins.
All right, so let's bring myself up next. Let's go to page 8 and continue with the science lesson.
No.
Trent.
Now we're talking about Trents.
Treants.
Treants.
How do you pronounce it? Treants or Trents?
I say Treants.
Jack?
Trance. I didn't know there was any kind of controversy over the pronunciation.
There should be an extra E if it's Treant.
Mm,
So you're of the opinion it's Trent?
Trent.
Trent?
Trent.
Trent?
Yeah. Like the name Trent. With an extra A.
Hmm.
yeah, all right. So this is a nice little story. It's told by a halfling druid.
Comment
it's really
below.
not-
How do you pronounce
yeah.
Treant?
Exactly. It's very nice because
And
they
please just write I pronounce it Trent and just write it out with no explanation, no attempt to give us
No phonics.
the phonics of it.
Yeah, no.
Just well, obviously I just pronounce it Trent. Doesn't everyone? Yeah.
Trent.
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 well, the halfling druid in this article, she says Treant.
How do you know?
I can see it. It's because it's right there.
She phonetically spells it.
She does not.
It says Treant, and then parentheses TRRE accent.
2 R's? That's odd.
Yeah, that's why it's tree. Treant.
It should be Treant. Anyways.
What else is it like? Yeah, it's just like all these other colleges. Nice little story goes with it. This time she talks to, I forget who she's talking to. She's with a halfling druid. Yeah, and I think it's just another party member with her. And she talks about how sometimes trees live in caves and how they come about. They at some point evolve from trees. They take care of the trees and forests. All the different things that we've grown to know and love from the Tolkien stories.
That's obviously where they got these guys from.
Yeah.
I don't think, well, Green Men, I guess, existed, folklore, but actual living trees, other than Greek mythology, I guess, there's living trees. Yeah.
Yes.
Tolkien stole everything he did.
It's true.
That's why he's the goat.
But
because he got turned into a goat by Zeus.
Yes, you'll never see these things as you walk by them because they blend in so well.
They are trees.
Yeah,
I think Lord of the Rings did that. The movie did that really well. Where all of a sudden he opens his eyes and you're like, oh, okay. It's a tree. Really shows camouflage.
They even talk about how they make mnemonics to remember things because their lives are so long, so they have to say these poems to remember things.
Mm.
But then the do is that the poems get so long sometimes they forget the rest of the poem.
Trees.
So yeah, I mean, with the exception of the unicorn, so far these ecology ones have been very entertaining to me.
You like your ecology.
I do.
I'd rather have a
fiction
cross
with
section.
purpose.
I want a cross section.
Now,
I want a tree cut in half.
You hunt down a tree and cut it one in half, and then we'll work on it.
Yeah.
We'll count the rings.
Which way would you cut them? Lengthwise or widthwise?
Crosswise, of course, because you want to get the whole thing. Cross section. That's what.
Straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Like top to bottom. Jack's saying so you can count the rings. That'd be side to side.
Yeah, but that's not going to get you much.
He likes to know the age of his dead tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jack. What do you got next?
Oh dear. Okay, patron saints. I'm out of articles, and I don't want to. I don't want to say why, but I think we're all thinking the same thing about this particular issue. It might come up, but I'm gonna have to. I will give my time to the honorable Rob Harper.
Let's go to page 5 then. Out on a limb. Is it? Yes. It's at the very bottom. It says missing line. You know how I always argue that the programs in Dragon Magazine are completely useless? Well, this isn't worse than useless. They actually screwed it up. They forgot a line. And I like how they're like, oh, this is all you have to do is this. It's like, no, that's not all you have to do. All you have to do is not put these stupid things in the magazine and waste our time.
The person who replies, it's Kim Mohan, if I remember correctly.
It is.
Says, yeah, when we're doing the layout, we thought we could just move this here, move that there, and it wouldn't matter. They tried to make it more concise, and they it's like, no,
they added two lines
need to be there.
Yeah, they added 2 lines of code together because they're like, oh, it fit better on the page. You're
It's not
idiots.
how that works.
You shouldn't have these in the. You don't understand how it works. It shouldn't be in the magazine.
Yeah. It's clearly a matter of someone not understanding at all and just thinking, okay, well, I'll just.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's funny.
Yeah.
And to point out at the end of that article of Out of the Limb is the Dragobone dice one again.
Hey, we're not in ads yet.
Look at that. Automatic off. 2 colors, charcoal and bone. 1
There's
year
2 colors
guarantee.
now? Same
25
price.
bucks.
All right. Jack, article?
Yeah,
Oh, wait, you
he's
don't have
out.
one.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to bring shame to the house fight.
He's highlighting the fact that there wasn't a lot in this magazine.
I got another one.
I got 2. So it would be my turn then. Let's go to page 19.
And then 19. See, it comes up a lot because we're always going to page 19.
Magic resistance, what it is and how it works. I'm not sure what the point of this article was.
I don't
Because
know.
magic resistance seems pretty obvious to me.
Yeah.
Even if you, in your mind, wanted to make alterations or add, like a contextual, it's magic resistance. And it's not a small article.
And it's like
a couple pages of discussion about a very simple mechanic.
That's the thing, that's why I'm unsure what this article is. Because as I was reading it, I'm like, okay, we haven't crossed anything yet that I didn't learn. I will say there was one part that I didn't need to take into account when I was a DM way back in the day, is on magic resistance affecting like magic mouths and glyphs of wardings on doors and stuff as you're there. If you have magic resistance, it should cancel those things out a little bit too.
Yeah.
And so you should never trigger the magic mouth. So then you would miss like half whatever trigger it was. If the magic was warning you or if it was giving you a clue, you missed that clue. Which would have turned the adventure all around, and I'd say make it for the better or worse, but it would have been a nice wrench.
But it's not like anti-magic zone, like it's just a resistance, I think it really works against things getting shot at you. That's
Yeah.
how it's like. I'm resistant to
But if you're the one who's
stab wounds.
if you're the one who's triggering the magic mouth, is what
Yeah,
is the
but
example of it.
it's not targeting you though. It'd be like I'm resistant to knives, and there's a knife on the table. The knife on the table just doesn't not work anymore. It's still freaking sharp.
Yeah, I mean
You just can't get stabbed with it.
there's the argument there, then, isn't it? Then this is why we need the article.
We didn't need this article.
No, no. At one point, I did go, "Oh, hey, I'm glad he kind of addressed that." That was the height of my caring about this article. He just said,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, if you have magic resistance, you can, just let your guard down and let something happen if it was beneficial
Why
to
is there
you."
no byline? It doesn't say who it's by.
No, I did not look and see.
Oh yeah.
Is it? I wonder in the. Let's look back at the.
Uh-oh.
No, there's no. It doesn't say by someone in the table of contents either.
Well,
Someone
it's
wanted to be remain anonymous.
Yeah, Alan Smithy wrote this.
Alan Smithy.
They the magazine needed a number count. We need
It's
two
a
and a half
Mohan
more
probably.
pages.
Yeah, it's a Mohan
So
probably.
It's probably a Mohan. But
45
let's be
minutes
careful because
later.
we don't want his widow to come after us.
Yeah. Jeez, you guys are poking the hornet's nest, aren't you?
True tsunami.
That was a little catty. All right, Rob, what do you got next?
I think we're right here, aren't we? Yes. You scroll down to page 23. It's the Gen Con Miniature Open 83. And I'd
I
like
knew
to
you were gonna
say,
pick this one, so I left it for you.
I'd like to say, remember last time this came up and we made fun of how badly things were painted and how crappy it was, and these are painted amazing. There's some freehand work on some of this stuff. I'm like, wow, that's good as today. Like
compared to last time, so
Yeah.
these are much better.
It's the quality has jumped. I'm sure a lot of people saw the last ones just like we did, and were like, I can paint better than that. They did, and they put their stuff in. So, like the faces on these riders are amazing. There's dioramas. This guy has this one knight has freehand skull or crowns on his jacket and like freehand. It's like I'm pretty impressed. Speckles on the flying leopard, whatever that thing is, pretty nice. Like
We've reached like today's tabletop quality in the span of however long we've been looking at these magazines, from what was basically just some paint on a miniature.
to the actual quality.
Quality.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. So, hats off to all you winners, because you've done damn good.
Bravo.
You heard him. Pats off.
Bravo.
Keep the pat off.
All right. I guess my last article will go to page 56.
Finally, we've been in the same like 6 pages.
And we're going to talk to our good friend Lewis, who's now being known as Lou.
But also Lewis in the same magazine, they've got him as Lewis for a different article. But
so this is the Fights of Fantasy, and this article talks a little bit about how fantasy warfare takes on the characters of medieval warfare. But how that can't really be, he talks about, because the biggest difference between medieval warfare and which revolved around castles and sieges and everything for the most part. Fantasy, it would not work in a fantasy battle warfare because you have flying and magic.
Yeah, magic is a major thing.
Yeah.
When you can just teleport out and get some water and bring it back, sieges don't work.
And then if you were to do a fantasy warfare, it's really more about your generalship and tactics and using what you have rather than sieging and line control. So, in a sense, it was very slightly informative because he does talk about. He goes into a little bit of medieval warfare and strategy so he can give counterpoint to it with the fantasy strategy and stuff. So, not one of Lewis's worst articles.
Well, but
it went on for a bit.
I would argue this is one of his worst articles because as someone who enjoys a lot of his stuff, this is a mental like a mental exercise, a bit of a hypotheticals. Hey, you know, this is this, this is, but it has really nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons. I don't remember in the '80s any time where there was going to be a D&D mass battle.
Well, they did talk about it. It never happened though. But
Well, that is true.
Yeah.
Wasn't there supposed to be a full
Mhm.
line of miniatures and a
Nope.
whole game?
Never happened.
Yeah.
Well, they created a world. I don't know. It comes out in the '90s, but not so much in the '80s. That worked on this level. It was called
yeah.
Birthright.
Yeah.
It worked on this level where your player character took on one of the lords of that world, and you actually
I remember that game.
part of your player character was actually balancing your books and making sure you were bringing enough trade in and stuff like that. So
It's fine. It's Pulsifer usually has good ideas, and then he screws up his ideas in some way. Whereas this, he kind of brought them through. Once again,
Yeah.
too long. It's way too long.
it was much longer than it needed to be. That's for sure.
But
Especially when he has, I think, 3 articles, 2 at the very least in this magazine.
yeah, he's probably got the other one too. They just don't want to put his name on it.
Prolific.
He does write a lot, so you can't blame the guy for putting out a lot of content. So
No.
So, but I still think it's not one of his worst. So
yeah, it could always be worse.
could always be worse. All right. Ads. Any more articles for you, Rob?
Nope.
All right, Rob, you get to go first this time. Your ad.
On page 33.
Oh man.
Maybe it's not the same ad. There's 3 ads in this.
Yeah, there's the options.
I just said that just because that's what someone always says when.
It's Champions 3 coming soon, coming this Christmas. But it's
no.
Look at the picture. It's Foxbat. It's Wolverine. It's Batman. It's
Who else?
a little Punisher.
It's
maybe.
Cable. It's Cable with
No,
a
it's
gun.
before Cable. It's probably Rambo, maybe because he's got the bandana.
Rambo was my thought.
Yeah.
Rambo was my thought. Yeah.
Cable isn't around yet. That was not till the
But
90s.
but this time he's fighting for his life.
And so I thought that was hilarious because he's one little Batman / Wolverine ears bent. Yeah, pretty funny. But that's what Champions was. It was pretty much, hey, we're gonna rip off all the other superheroes. You can make what you want. So
Yeah.
that was Champions.
Okay. I mean, one of the most complicated hero games ever, but Jack, what do you got?
Page 30.
Oh,
We're right here.
We're right here.
There is no ad on 30.
45.
Saintly things is 30.
Yes. I glanced down, looked at the
this is
number.
actually one of mine.
The flying shuttle. 45 is a mini
Flying
shuttle.
real rockets.
Yeah.
This was my jam.
This
Now,
was my jam
well,
also.
You guys shot rocket stuff, I know.
I still, to this day, have some the model rocket engines. I still have a couple of the model rockets.
Do you think they still work? You probably have a chance of exploding yourself up if you try those things.
I'm willing to try. I'm an old man with nothing to live for, so let's. Do
I got 9 too many fingers.
I know, Rob, you knew this, but when last time we went to that Hobby Town and we looked at some of those Gundams, I was over at the model rockets going, God, would people judge me if I bought one of these and took it to the park and launched some rockets?
It would scare the toughs and the deer. And the tough deer.
Probably launched a couple hundred different rockets.
Oh, I've launched the shuttle. I had an X-wing one. I had an R2D2 one.
I had one that was called the Mosquito. It was about this big.
Oh, that's the very small
remember that
one.
one.
It didn't even come with a parachute. It just went nose first in the ground.
That's right. And then I had big ones that had the carrying capacity, so you could put crickets in there. I'm
sure it wasn't for crickets.
Probably what?
You gave those crickets the time of their lives.
They had stories to tell. They were back at the pub just talking about, and I was up in heaven. I was in heaven, and then
they probed me and brought me back to Earth.
That's right. That's right. No, I remember I would every weekend for a couple summers when I was in high school. It
Mhm.
was take the rockets
I
out.
witnessed.
If the weather was good, I got pictures. I got pictures of Rob in the background. Hey, doing this while I was shooting rockets off.
All I know is
had
that we were nearly killed a few times with those rockets when their
I
parachutes don't
had
work and it became a fucking
yes.
missile.
Like on my X-wing, the parachute never deployed on my X-wing,
Oh, it's
and
gone.
then me and my cousin were running. We're trying to catch it because we didn't want it to break.
Yeah, I know. I remember we shot
Uh,
one. Jack shot one off, and it just went into the forest somewhere. It was just gone. We couldn't find it.
And we looked for a while
Yeah,
because it was
it was a
it was a
tall
good
one.
one.
It was a big one. Yeah.
It was a big one, and it had like a lot of it had a couple hours worth of flight time on it. So I was disappointed to see it disappear. But
I had
yeah,
the
just hooked. We were at
I,
the park, and it just hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the tree line, and
yeah, I had the shuttle rocket where the shuttle was a glider,
Mm.
and so the big part launched, and when it got up there, then
It's supposed to fall
the
apart.
shuttle was supposed to come off it, and glide down in a circle. But it was nice and calm, and that thing went up maybe about 200 feet, and then did a 90-degree turn because there must have been much wind up there.
It's just too
Um,
tsunami. That's all I'm saying.
but here's the grim part. That was maybe a month after the Challenger explosion,
oh,
and I was like, "Oh my god, we should never launch this thing."
well, you put a school teacher on it, so that's on you.
A school
That was
teacher cricket, though. Shoot, it was a cricket who taught
It
school.
was a school teacher cricket.
Oh yeah, I miss flying. And every time I go into those hobby shops with the
You got a
remote control
perfect
cars,
park right in your backyard. You could shoot those
yeah,
rockets
I
off.
like I really play with the notion of buying a pad and an igniter
I love
and
the.
just getting some rockets and just I wouldn't mind because I loved building these things and then launching them in the air.
There was one
And
time
Steve,
the rocket fell over and it just shot sideways at us.
that's happened. My buddy Charlie built me a launcher, the actual control panel, and for a larf, he put all these switches and dials, and I never knew exactly what was going on, and but he's full of that kind of lighthearted tomfoolery, but also he was one of the most miserable, cantankerous bastards that I'd ever known. So between the two things, he built this contraption that had about 100 different dials on it for say comedy. But when we went to launch a rocket, it launched when he was putting the igniter into the thing, and it was my fault somehow. Oh, miserable prick! What were you thinking? You
You did it.
got lights on it and flips and switches. Don't you know? No one does. It was your joke, you idiot. But it almost killed him.
I wouldn't have killed him. He just lost a few fingers.
He would have lost an eye or something because he
It's gonna
stuck the
shoot your
igniter
eye
in
out.
there and
Good times. Good times.
thing on and
Oh, now maybe next time when you're here, Jack, we'll get some model rockets.
Get
and
some
we'll build
rockets.
them
Shoot them
fly.
off. That's so funny.
Instead-
Jack's got to come in the
instead-
summer though.
Instead of napping, we'll do it.
Jack's got to come in the summer because in March shooting rockets it would be this like terribly cold.
Yeah,
perfect for it.
perfect weather.
Yeah, it's like sleeting half the time.
All right. Well, I only have one more ad now, then. So let's go to page 15.
Ooh,
I knew you'd pick this one when I saw
Starry
this.
Battles.
Yeah.
It's the Commander book number 2 that gives you more ships to fight with.
I saw
then
this one in Pat's eyes.
In the Commander book, you're going to get a Hydran, a Lyran, a Win, and Klingon ships,
Klingon.
which was my jam, or Klingons. So, Starfleet Battles really making a name for themselves in these magazines right now. So,
Yeah, they're spending a lot of money. The Task Force games. I think every single one has at least one ad. So.
but these SSD books were the bread and butter of Starfleet Battles. You got new ships, it was like 30 pages and gives you about 10 more ships per faction.
Doesn't FASA take it over eventually?
No,
I thought they did Starfleet or did Star Wars.
they did Star Trek.
That's what I meant. This is Star Trek.
No, Starfleet Battles was a generic. It had Star Trek
Uh,
components to it.
I see.
it's not
Because-
Starfleet battles. It's
because in
Fleet
actual Star
Battles.
Trek, you don't have the Hydrans, you don't have the Winds, you do have the Tholians, and you do have the Zinti because they show up in the Enterprise TV show. It's canon. Yeah, I mean, you're not a true sci-fi guy, so that's okay.
There's no sci-fi in Dragon Magazine.
It's true. Not till '84. Where am I going with this?
You were saying Rob isn't a sci-fi guy.
Yeah, and then I was gonna. So, what's your? You have any more articles or ads?
I'm done.
You're tapped, Jack. You're tapped.
Yeah.
I'm tapped.
Back
that
to
means this-
basics.
Oh, this means this is the end of the show.
Don't worry. Next week there'll be another show.
That's
What
true.
if we're dead?
Yeah.
We are
What
dead,
happens?
Jack.
What happens if we get killed by a model rocket?
I was having fun. Yeah.
We're all dead, Jack. We all float.
We all float down here.
We all float down here.
Pennywise.
What happens if
short.
What happens if we take some computer code from the Dragon magazine and also we make some kind of corrupt AI?
Yes, we should ask Chat APT to fix the
Who's-
code in the Dragon Magazine.
Who's so angry that we programmed him in BASIC that he wants to destroy the world?
Inferior Dragon Magazine basic.
If we can call him Ultron, I'm in.
Copyright.
Okay.
We get.
Copyright.
You want Disney after us? End of the world be
I've
nothing
legally-
compared to those guys.
I've legally changed my name to Hank Pym, so they can sit on it. They can bounce on my.
No, sadly they own you now. You don't realize that you're actually owned
They
by
can
Disney.
sit on it. Way to go, Potsy.
You thought you were getting around their legalese, but you fell right into their trap.
Okay, well,
When Jack just every day has to mention going to Disney World as a fun vacation.
Sponsorships are not a joke, Rob, and I would never do that sort of thing. That's beneath me.
I'm
and
sorry.
You sullied the good name. But I do have to announce I do have a new project. I am the live-action Steamboat Willie movie that's coming out. I play the titular Steamboat.
Extra steamboat.
So, did you guys read any of the sage advice in this magazine?
Oh, we're still talking about this magazine?
Well,
I thought we were wrapping it up. I got
I
You
got
guys-
a place to be and
ketchup
things
chips
to do.
to-
Yeah.
you guys were vamping, so I was going to let you go. So I was just glancing over to my right, and I noticed one of the sage advice questions, which is the very last one. And this is what this sage advice has become: do real barbarians eat quiche?
Quiche. I got sick on quiche one time, so I don't eat quiche.
So,
this better be good, Pat. We have
oh
a
no,
pretty show.
I'm leaving it right there. Do real barbarians eat quiche? And then,
Okay.
Answer in the
So-
comments below.
so
Was this about the time when there was a meme about men don't eat quiche?
There's no
this
memes.
about that
There was no
time?
memes back there, Jack. This is
Well,
the olden days when there's no memes.
The parlance has changed, but it was
it wasn't memes. It was mimeographs. Wasn't there mimeograph?
wasn't there a thing men don't eat quiche?
Probably.
Mm.
Real men don't eat quiche, Jack.
Was it on a billboard?
Probably. It's probably an ad for eggs. You can't trust the eggmen.
I think
Can't trust the
Lovecraft's
walrus.
gothic horror world. Real men don't eat quiche. I think that's what I'm seeing in my mind now.
Makes sense.
Mm.
Cthulhu eating quiche.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm
well,
glad Pat brought this up. Like
I did.
we were like a minute out. I could taste those ketchup chips.
Yes. All right. So let's get to ketchup chips. And so for the Dragon's Tome.
He's changed the name of the show.
You got it. And
The
changing the name of
Dragon's
the show, that's kind of sacred, Pat. Like, let's not do that.
Yeah, we
either.
don't do that either. Come on.
Yeah,
We don't pretend to have sponsorships, and we don't change the name of the show.
you're right. You're right.
And we definitely don't have a
Um,
Patreon.
It was low fruit. I was reaching for low fruit.
We're
Sorry.
$1 away from me having to shave my beard.
Yeah. All right. For the Dragon's Tomb, I've been Chopper.
And I'm Jack.
I'm Rob.
Like, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. We love you guys, and we will see you next
Oh,
week.
he changes his tune now. No more calling them plebes, I guess.
Never call them plebes.
Bye-bye.
Plebs? No, plebes.